Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast made by fans like you, for fans like you. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast, a special draft edition. I'm going to talk today just briefly about the Steelers' fourth-round draft selection. That would be offensive tackle Jerald Hawkins out of Louisiana State, or most commonly referred to LSU. And Jerald Hawkins is kind of a raw talent. He's someone who was advised to stay in school for one more year for his senior year, but opted to come out early as a junior. But even being raw, I have to think that Hawkins has tremendous upside and is a fantastic pick in the fourth round for the Pittsburgh Steelers and a nice tool to possibly slide in there under Coach Mike Munchak, because I could see Munch totally lobbying in the draft war room there for Jerald Hawkins. This was a guy who come in for a pre-draft visit, and I said, geez, if you get this guy in the middle rounds, this is one of those picks where it would really help, like when the Steelers lost their fifth and sixth round choices to trades. This is one of those value picks that you do end up getting. You get a 6'6", 305-pound tackle with 34.25-inch arms. And he's a 3-year starter, okay? He won the starting right tackle job at LSU as a redshirt freshman. That has to tell you something. This is not a small school, and he just jumps right into the job. And he helps with an offensive line, mind you, on the left tackle side, where he does end up filling in his junior year, his final season, for the departed La'el Collins, who was one of the top draft prospects in the 2015 draft last year, if you do recall. A little bit of side story to La'el Collins made him slide completely from being one of maybe the top 5 or 10 picks in the first round to completely off the board and into the hands of the Dallas Cowboys as an undrafted free agent. So you have La'el Collins who leaves. Jerald Hawkins slides over from his right tackle job, where he had 25 starts as a right tackle. He goes in his junior year and starts 12 at left tackle when he replaces Collins. So he has 37 career starts. He helped lead an offensive line at LSU that helped their running back, Leonard Fournette, gain over 1,000 yards in 2014. You had Hawkins, with one game against Ole Miss, have 12 knockdowns on 71 total plays. LSU gained 264 rushing yards against a defense which was only allowing 97 at that point. That's pretty impressive. So, despite Hawkins being maybe a raw player, this is someone who definitely has tremendous upside. You could almost look at his first year with the Pittsburgh Steelers being maybe his senior year in terms of his college education. This is a player that maybe could have been a first or possibly even a high second round tackle had he stayed in as a senior. This reminds me of somebody with a tremendous upside like a Martavis Bryant, who came out early and was somewhat overshadowed by Sammy Watkins on the other side of the field. So you kind of have almost the same type of situation where the Pittsburgh Steelers now have maybe 3 viable players who could fill in or play that left tackle spot. Now, I'm not going to say Hawkins is going to jump right in right away. He's got some work to do. But you do have a just street free agent in Alejandro Villanueva, who did a pretty admirable job at the left tackle position, filling in for the now departed Kelvin Beachum, who was injured. And Kelvin Beachum goes to Jacksonville. We talked about Beachum on here before. And Beachum was a 7th round draft choice. So it's not without the realm of plausibility that maybe if Hawkins gets on the field, maybe this guy lives up to the task. The Steelers also signing Ryan Harris, who is another one of those swing tackles who could play on either side. So Ryan Harris will factor into that left tackle starting position mix too. So you have 3 guys here that are all capable of playing left tackle, all capable of playing on either side. I really liked this pick. Hawkins had, 11 games, recording 38 knockdown blocks on 754 offensive snaps, including playing every single snap in 7 of those games in his final year at LSU. He only missed 1 game in his career. It is just unbelievable. The LSU bowl game, they had a school bowl record of 638 yards of offense. It is just, and I'm looking at another statistic here. LSU led the SEC with 256.8 rushing yards per game. And that was once again for the same running back who set the school's single-season record for yards and rushing touchdowns. So, definitely a good part of a good run-blocking offensive line at LSU, and definitely somebody who can be coached up and possibly be one heck of a value as a 4th-round draft pick. I absolutely love the choice there for Jerald Hawkins, and I absolutely am liking the Steelers draft. Stay tuned. We have yet another special draft episode coming to you shortly, and we're going to detail all of the remaining Day 3 picks that the Steelers were making and an overall view of the theme. Hawkins was the first offensive player selected in this year's draft, so definitely defense is the theme, and we'll talk about how those draft picks are going to fit in for the 2016 season.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.